this is just a quick video response to the Yamanote line, the Yamanote train video by RoninDave and Gemmeabreakman. Now I'll start off by saying I'm neither for nor against the Yamanote train. It seems from the videos that I've seen, looks like a bit of fun, you know, an excuse for people to get together, dress up, you know, mingle with other tourists, other locals, and nobody's out to hurt them. But at the same time, it's not a sanctioned event. So I'm a fence sitter, I'll admit that. I'm a fence sitter on the subject. Personal reason as well, as I'm an Australian, we don't celebrate Halloween here, so big whoop, Halloween, whatever. For those that are quite passionate either for or against the Yamanote line train, there was a comment in the video that I'm linking this to that was actually very interesting to me. In the video, Gemmeabreakman has stated that he is torn as to whether or not he is for or against the train himself. For his own reasons, I won't put words into his mouth. You can watch the video and see his opinion himself. But one of the comments he did make was in regard to not being able to do this sort of thing in Western countries because it's been made illegal because, in his own words, Americans and British had fucked it up. I found this actually quite interesting because from the opinions that I have read and the video responses I have seen on the subject, this point that Gemmeabreakman has made appears to be a very common and the most prevalent opinion of why people are against the Yamanote train, in that it is a bunch of Westerners getting together, getting drunk. Sure, it's only an hour on public transport, but getting together, getting drunk, and when you get a group of people together in that situation, it's not unreasonable to assume that eventually something bad will happen and that it will shut everything down. Now, I don't think that's happening in the case of the Yamanote line train. It has been running for 20 years. As far as I'm aware, nobody has been hurt in any kind of major way on the event. If you know of a report of a person being seriously hurt or attacked or molested on the Yamanote line train, by all means link it down in the comments section. I'd be more than happy to read it because I am interested in the subject. I wouldn't be making this response if I wasn't. But the argument basically is that people are against it because it's people getting together, getting drunk, causing mischief, being loud, possibly causing an incident where someone may get hurt or killed. Whether that happens or not is obviously yet to be seen. We hope that it doesn't. So I'm not quite sure if that comment and the point that Gemmeabreakman made was actually intentional, or I may just be seeing that and reading more into the comment than there actually is there. You know, in his point as well, in the case of where I live here in Melbourne, Australia. I do visit Japan once a year, but we also had a party train once a week, once a month back in the 90s, and it would run from Belgrave train station, which is up in the hills outside of Melbourne. It's about an hour and 10 minutes into the city from there, and it would run into the city and back again. And basically it was a party. It was sanctioned by the Metropolitan Transport System in Melbourne, and they'd have a band, they'd have security, everybody would go there with the intention of having a good time. It was an all ages event, so of course there was no alcohol because you can never drink on trains here. And you know, people would go there to have good clean fun, but it was shut down at one point because, unfortunately, like with everywhere in the world, there are bad eggs. And yes, people got a little bit too rambunctious and people were hurt and damage was sustained to the trains, and it would cost a lot of money for the train services to then fix that train after a monthly event, and it was shut down, which is it's a big shame because it was a lot of fun when it was good. Now in regard to those who are for the Yamanote line train and their argument is that it has been running for 20 years and that like RoninDave said, he hasn't seen any incidences of people being hurt or drunken brawls or anything like that on the train, so what's the problem if everybody's having a good time and everybody's being safe? It's a very good point, absolutely. You would hope though that the people that are organising it each year remember the spirit of the Yamanote train party and remember that it is supposed to be good, clean, wholesome fun. It's not supposed to be an excuse for people to get together, get drunk and act like tools, basically. Now, as far as what to do about the Yamanote line train, like I said, I'm actually on the fence. I'm neither a supporter nor against the Yamanote line train, only because of the main reason is that Halloween is not something that we celebrate here in Australia, so I don't see myself going to another country to celebrate it as well. Obviously, if someone had invited me to a party, I'd probably go, but it'd be just an excuse to hang out with friends and that's about it. It seems to me that this party has been going for so long unsanctioned that it would make sense for the JLI to sanction this party. A number of reasons why. Main reason is because it's safer, for one, for the people participating, and it's also safer for those who are also not participating but have to use the train lines at that time. Couple of things on that to elaborate. First up, for the people who are participating in the event, they'd have better security, they would have better access to everybody else on the train. They could go there knowing that they're not going to be harassed by anti-Yamanote party people, and they also know that if something bad does happen, there's going to be somebody there that they can go to say, okay, this is what's happening. And let's face it, Japan is an extremely safe place to be. Obviously there are always nutters somewhere. It doesn't matter what country you go to, there's going to be crime, but as comparatively to Western countries, Tokyo in particular is an extremely safe place to be, so the likelihood of you having trouble there is quite small as long as you're smart. Now on the other side, for those who aren't taking part in the train, in regard to the case of that RoninDave mentioned of one of the salarymen who was getting home from work at 9 o'clock at night, and he was quite surprised how many people were on the train. Let's face it, the working hours in Japan are ridiculously long. I mean, 14-hour days as a standard. That's just ridiculous. But if you're working that many hours and you're going home on a Saturday night, obviously there's not as many people on the train normally, and you might always catch that train. But if they were given fair warning, which would happen if it was a JR sanctioned party, at 9:30, Yamanote line will be, this train at, starting from Ueno station for instance, is going to be just a party for 1 hour. If people were aware of that, then they would know, if they're not taking part in the party, to avoid that particular train. Then you wouldn't have people being disrupted in their daily movements by the train. And yes, it is only an hour, but if you've just worked a 14-hour day on a Saturday and you're on your way home and you're dead tired, the last thing you want to do is sit on a train with 50, 60 drunk people chanting train stations. So yeah, that's my 2 cents about the Yamanote line train. I'm never in Tokyo during the holiday season, during the Halloween season, so I've not experienced it firsthand. Yeah, so for everybody who's going on next year's train, be safe, be respectful, obviously. Don't go on there with the intention of being the stereotypical gaijin. And for those who are not taking part in the Yamanote line train, I also ask you to be safe as well, and just remember that the people who are on the train, they're not there to be disrespectful of your home or be disrespectful of you. They're just having a good time and they want to keep it as clean and as safe as possible. Peace to you.